Julius Malema recently celebrated a remark he called a badge of honor, but instead of praise, he's become the target of ridicule across South Africa. From social media memes to barbed jokes on call-in radio, ordinary citizens and political commentators alike are casting that badge as a symbol of mockery rather than valor. What began as political bravado is now being reframed by critics as a tone-deaf boast that exposed more vulnerability than strength. Malema declared that certain attacks on him are evidence that powerful forces fear him, that being assailed is itself an honor. But rather than intimidating his opponents, many South Africans have responded with laughter. Memes exaggerating his facial expressions, satirical takes on the idea of a badge, and jokes comparing him to a superhero with no superpowers have flooded timelines. One viral image shows him in a shiny medal rigged with cartoon bullets, a biting visual punch at the claim. Others point out how a badge typically denotes achievement, yet in this case the honor seems built only on insults and opposition. Critics argue that this statement reveals a shrinking base of genuine political support, signaling that Malema is leaning on symbolism when substance is weakening. Some commentators note that turning insults into a badge only works when people see the target as dignified, but when public perception is shifting toward contempt, it backfires badly. The more he insists on the honor narrative, the more skeptics view it as a sign he's losing the rhetorical high ground. Opponents have pounced. Radio hosts have played his recording of the badge of honor line and then quipped, "Which ceremony do we attend to get a badge?" Others have suggested sending him actual toy badges, plastic, cheaply made, just like the mock prestige being attributed. Even within his political vicinity, murmurs suggest discomfort with the rhetoric. Some EFF insiders fear the phrase anchors him more to spectacle than to serious leadership. Social media users have also fueled the backlash. One trending tweet said, "If being attacked is an honor, then Malema must be the most decorated man in SA." Another joked, "Can I get a badge too after retweeting this? I want in on the honor." The irony that his attempt to wear victimhood as virtuous is now being worn by others as comedic armor hasn't escaped observers. In online comment threads, the tone often flips. Instead of sympathizing, audiences are poking fun and questioning the logic. Yet the risk for Malema extends beyond embarrassment. In trying to reframe criticism as merit, he may further entrench skepticism about his capacity to lead. Public trust doesn't stem from daring bravado, it comes from tangible achievements and credible policy direction. When one leans too heavily on symbolic defiance, especially in a fraught political climate, the gap between rhetoric and results becomes glaring. That said, some defenders see the remark differently. They insist Malema is using guerrilla politics, turning insults into fuel, reframing persecution as legitimacy. They argue that in a political environment where powerful interests wield narratives, positioning oneself as besieged can galvanize supporters. To them, the mocking masses are part of what is being contested, the narrative battlefield. But the volume of mockery suggests this strategy is increasingly viewed as tone-performing, not bold statesmanship. What's telling is how quickly laughter has replaced outrage. Where once critics might have engaged with counterarguments, now many just chuckle and move on. That badge of honor line is repeating not as a rallying cry but as a punchline. And when ridicule overtakes resonance, a political image once crafted to elevate can collapse into caricature. Which side holds sway will depend on what comes next. If Malema continues leaning into defiant symbolic flourishes without delivering results or serious political traction, that laughter could harden into dismissal. But if he pivots, grounds his rhetoric in policies, and shows tangible wins, he might reclaim some narrative control. For now though, the public's verdict is audible in the snickers. If you want to stay tuned for further drama, when new gaffes emerge, when comebacks are attempted, and when the public mood shifts again, don't miss the next installment. Hit subscribe and tap the notification bell so you're first to know when Malema's next move becomes the next punchline or power play.